Dorkening, and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Let's see this.
If you turned upside down, what would you do?
What the fuck are we gonna do now? Get high.
It was more fun that way.
Giants, Ribbit. We're into Giants.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ganja Gospel, where we're going to be reading from the Lost Book of Enki. Well, she's going to be reading from the Lost Book of Enki. I'm going to sit here and smoke weed, and you're going to look at this cool-ass, stanky Pineapple Larry shirt that you can purchase from thirdeyestrands@gmail.com. The shirt and the strain if you want. And hit us up, thirdeyestrands@gmail.com for all your details. And also for your witches wax.
Hey.
Your go deep. We can also get that from Third Eye Strands. And we also have other witches wax. This one is Cat Scratch Healer.
For all your healing needs. Go to twinflamefarms.com for the website and the store, and you can purchase there.
Yes, or donate to our new funding of moving to this big, huge property with pond, and hopefully buy the bar next door and turn it into a cannabis business. That'd be super fun. Anyone want to invest money in our future and your future of making money in weed? Let us know. Hit us up. twinflamefarms.com. twinflamefarms@gmail.com.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here.
What up?
Welcome. We appreciate you.
Yes.
So, yeah.
We will be reading here. And what do we have? Tablet 6?
We ended
5 and 6.
Tablet 6 last week, I think. And then we are on Tablet 7 this week. We're going to do a little recap of what Tablet 6 was about so that we remember what happened.
Yeah.
And we should have been doing this all along so that we remembered what happened on each tablet. But
basically, I just
better late than never, right?
So they made people primitive workers last time. And they were talking about the Abzu and stuff. So
yes.
The Abzu is heart-shaped and stuff. So, yeah, we're going to read some more about this. Let's
going to dig in. So
synopsis.
The synopsis of the 6th tablet, which basically is the summary, and we're just going to say this as a recap of what we talked about last week. And if you want to see the entire reading and discussion last week, feel free to backtrack and find on whichever channel you're on, whether it be Hellfire, Still Toking with, the Dorkening, TwizTD RootZ, which is where a lot of us are chatting. Anywhere of those places, then you can go to the week prior, and you'll see the tablet.
That's right. And check it out. We played in the intro. That's a couple of just a little bit of the content that you'll find on the Dorkening and Hellfire Radio Network, Dorkening Network there. Go check them out, subscribe, and join in all the fun. They talk to a lot of cool people.
They do.
About all their projects and the upcoming projects that they're going to be doing. So, your voice actors, everyone loves those voice actors. I know y'all do. There's tons of them in there. And they got all these little comic book dudes and the little, the people in the movies. And I always see the craziest people that I'm like, no fucking way. Wow.
It is really cool.
Amazing. You
would not believe some of the people they have on their interviews and their shows. You just wouldn't think. And you're like, well, damn, okay then. It's pretty good cool stuff. So definitely check them out.
Yep.
Don't be shy. Show the community some love.
That's right. And shout out to all of you out there in the ganja world. We're going to be learning about God and ganja today. And this is Obi-Wan Kenobi, the master commander of the Force, and it's super yummy. And cheers, everyone.
Cheers. While he lights that, I'm going to continue with the recap. Synopsis of the 6th tablet. To the incredulous leadership, Enki reveals a secret. In the Abzu, where roams a wild being akin to the Anunnaki, by augmenting its life essence with that of the Anunnaki, it can be upgraded to be an intelligent, primitive worker. Creation belongs to the Father of all beginning. Enlil shouted. We will give our image only to an existing being, Ninmah argued. Badly needing gold to survive, the leaders vote yes. Enki, Ninmah, and Ningazita, Enki's son, begin experiments. After many failures and the perfect model, Adamu, is attained. Ninmah shouts triumphantly, my hands have made it. She is renamed Ninti, Lady of Life, for her achievement. Ninki, Enki's spouse, helps fashion Tiamat, a female earthling. The earthlings, being hybrids, mate but do not procreate. Ningazita adds 2 essence branches to their life tree, discovering the unapproved ongoings. Enlil expels the earthlings. That is what the 6th tablet was.
Dum. So let's just recap. So they were talking about it, and they found these creatures in the Abzu. Okay. Nowhere in the Eden were these creatures found, right? And if you research the Eden, you're going to find out it's not this small little place. It encompasses or circumference like 10,000 square miles or some shit. This whole huge area where all these cities, what was there, like 9 cities that were inside this whole big area. And the cities were huge. So the Eden was a big area. And nowhere in the Eden were these creatures found. So that would tell you that nowhere that the Anunnaki were just chilling at, you know what I'm saying, nowhere they were living did they see these creatures. So at that time, like Africa, India, like the Middle East, all that shit was no, that's yours.
Oh yeah.
All that shit was connected by land. There was not water between them because the water was low. It's proven there's land everywhere. So interesting to think that maybe the Abzu is somewhere else. I hypothesize it to be in Australia, which would have been heart-shaped because the world was upside down for them. The world spun and tipped over and put us where it is now. Imagine Antarctica being in the northern hemisphere, or in the middle, right? And it tipped over. So interesting. But when you go back to it, in the Australian history of it, they'll show like people evolving And Enki even talked about it. He said he first witnessed these things like living amongst the trees and using their hands, their front paws as hands. And then he was there for 140,000 years, 144,000 years. And then he witnessed these creatures climbing out of the trees, walking upright and migrating like nomads, nomadic, hairy, full covered in hair, but animals that were evolving to humans. And they said they were kin to them, like in the family tree to them. So they were able to crossbreed with them. They were able to cross their genetics, whether it's breeding or splicing, whether it be whatever way. Like we can't just splice into a cat, into ourselves. You know what I mean? Very interesting.
Okay, let's get into the 7th tablet. Things are starting to get good now. Synopsis of the 7th tablet. Return to the Abzu. Adamu and Tiamat bear children. Earthlings proliferate, working in the mines and as servants. Enlil's grandchildren, the twins Utu and Inanna, are born. Anunnaki couples bear other offspring on Earth. Climate changes cause hardships on Earth and on Lamu. Nibiru's orbital nearing is accompanied by upheavals. Enki and Marduk explore the moon and find it inhospitable. Enki determines the constellations and celestial time. Bitter about his own fate, Enki promises supremacy to Marduk. Anu gives command of a new spaceport to Utu, not to Marduk. Enki encounters and mates with 2 earthling females. One bears a son, Adapa, the other a daughter, Titi. Keeping his parenting a secret, Enki raises them as foundlings. Adapa, highly intelligent, becomes the first civilized man. Adapa and Titi mate, have 2 sons, Cain and Abel.
So you heard it right there. You and your twists of the words.
I say them how I read them.
So she said Cain and Abel right there. But you heard the first humans that were created specifically as a tool. Those were called the primitive workers. Okay, they described them very clearly and what their physical appearance was of the male and the female. They don't describe the children per se in this particular tale, but they do describe the male and the female. Okay, so from that male and female, they had sex and created a whole race, an entire race of servants. Okay, the servant class on this planet. There was Anunnaki and there was servants, slaves. Those slaves toiled everywhere, in the fields, in the mines, and in the houses as maids and servants and shit. They did all the chores. The Anunnaki lived as kings on this planet. Every one of them had a servant. It was Planet of the Apes, literally. Then till came Adam and Eve, the real Adam and Eve. People might think, well, that's the first Adam and Eve. No, because that's not in your Bible. The stories in your Bible of the meeting in the garden, them getting kicked out of the garden and stuff, that little bit's there, but there was never a serpent. There's never a serpent in the garden. The devil wasn't present because the devil wasn't even starting his shit yet, who you call Satan. He didn't even start his shit yet, so that whole part of the story wasn't even true in the part of the Bible. But the story of them being in the garden, getting the upgraded DNA, that's the enlightenment. They ate the apple, the forbidden fruit of knowledge, right? They were enlightened. They got to upgrade in their DNA. Now, instead of being animals, like animals have piss and shit all over them, they don't give a fuck. They don't think, oh my God, I have dingleberries. The girl's not going to like me. No, the girl animal's going to come and smell that ass and smell those dingleberries and go, ooh, I like that smell, right? But us,
so raw.
us as the upgrades, no, we got to have a clean ass. You know what I'm saying? We know we got to wear deodorant and keep ourselves presentably clean. Like cleanliness is next to godliness. Where do you think all that comes from? That separates the animal from the human. Upgrade coming soon, right here.
The seventh tablet. To the Abzu, away from the Eden, let them be expelled. So did Enlil the command decree. From the Eden to the Abzu, Adamu and Tiamat were expelled. In an enclosure among the trees, Enki them placed. To know each other, he left them. With joy did Enki see what Ningazida had done come to be. With child, Tiamat was frolicking. Ninmah came the birth giving to watch. A son and a daughter, twins, to the earth beings were born. With wonderment did Ninmah and Enki watch the newborns. How they grew and developed was a marvel. Days were as months, months to earth years accumulated. By the time Adamu and Tiamat had other sons and daughters, the first ones were by themselves procreating.
You never did this.
Yes, I did.
That's
where you made fun of my words.
My bad. I was doing this.
Before one Shar of Nibiru had passed, the earthlings were proliferating. With understanding were the primitive workers endowed. Of commandments they were comprehending.
Okay, hold on one second. So basically, they say, cool noise. Basically, scientists say that one Shar equals 3,600 Earth years. So for us to go around our sun one time is 1 year for us, one complete solar year. Okay. For the Anunnaki on Nibiru, whatever planet you think it is, if it's a sun, if it's a planet, if it's a rogue asteroid or a comet, whatever you think it is, it goes around that sun every 3,600 of our years. Okay. They don't see the sun rise and set like we do. Even when they said in their time of summer, they don't see the sun rise and set. They said a sight never beheld on Nibiru. So when they keep saying this over and over, just know that this shit don't happen on their planet. It's brand new and unique to our planet from them. Okay. So go ahead. I forgot what I was going.
That he created, but that's in here.
The what?
I was going to say that he created time, but that's in here.
No, the end of the part you just talked about.
Days they grew and developed was a marvel. Days were as months, months to earth years accumulated.
So this long period of time, thousands of years have gone by. They said nearly a Shar, in nearly a Shar's time, the earthlings have proliferated, whatever. They have sex and multiplied tons and tons of times. So in thousands of years, so supposedly since Jesus died, it's been 2,000 some odd years, 2,022 years, okay, since the death of Jesus. Now, look how many damn people are from his time till now. I'm talking every time they do the census, we gain a few billion people, a couple billion. Think about that in those times. We watch those movies. How do they, we think of biblical. In the Bible, it says there's only this many people. Not according to these true stories of the Old Testament time, right? There was tons of people in 3,600 years, nearly 3,600 years, a shit ton of people were born. So there was an entire population of a slave or a worker race on this planet of whatever color. They were humans, one tribe. They were a working class human on this planet. And then this happened.
By the time Adamu and Tiamat had other sons and daughters, the first ones were by themselves procreating. Before one Shar of Nibiru had passed, the earthlings were proliferating. With understanding were the primitive workers endowed. Of commandments they were comprehending. To be with the Anunnaki they were eager. For food rations they toiled well. Of heat and dust they did not complain. Of backbreaking they did not grumble. Of the hardships of work the Anunnaki of the Abzu were relieved. The vital gold to Nibiru was coming. Nibiru's atmosphere was slowly healing. Earth mission to the satisfaction of all was proceeding. Among the Anunnaki, those who from heaven to earth came, there was also espousing and procreation.
Yes. So hold on one second. So previously it was 144,000 of our years, which was, I forget how many shards, 40 shards or some shit like that. A few shards, a bunch of shards had went by and nothing was happening. The gold wasn't really forthcoming. They were like, what the fuck? They started mining, but then they were bitching about the mining for 100 shards. I think it was, they were bitching. I think it was the 100th shard. So it was like 144,000 years, something like that. They decided to create these humans. Now, in less than one of their years, for making these human workers, everything is going perfect. Everything's worked out.
The sons of Enlil and Enki, from sisters and half-sisters, from healing heroines, took spouses. To them on earth sons and daughters were born. Through by life cycles of Nibiru were they endowed, by earth cycles were they quickened. Who on Nibiru in diapers would still be, on earth became a child.
You understand this, right?
Who on Nibiru began to crawl, when on earth born was running around. Special joy there was when to Nanar and Ningal twins were born. A daughter and a son they were, Inanna and Utu, by Ningal they were named. With them, a third generation of Anunnaki on earth was present.
You understand that, right?
For the offspring of the leaders, tasks were allocated. Some olden chores were divided. Easier among the offspring they were made. To the olden chores, new tasks were added. Upon the earth, the warm was rising. Vegetation flourished. Wild creatures overran the land.
The warm was rising. She went so fast, but it's so important. The warm was rising.
Upon the earth, the warmth was rising. Vegetation flourished. Wild creatures overran the land. The rains were heavier. Rivers were gushing. Abodes repairing needed. Upon the earth, the heat was increasing. The snow-white parts to water were melting. The bars of the seas the oceans were not containing. From the depths of the earth, volcanoes were fire and brimstones belching. The grounds were trembling. Each time the earth was shaking. In the lower world, the snow-white hued place, the earth was grumbling.
In the lower world, you heard that, the lower world, the world. In the lower part of the world, there was snow. Not fire, not there was snow there.
At the tip of the Abzu, Enki, a place for observing, established. To his son Nergal and his spouse Ereshkigal, command thereof he entrusted. A thing unknown, an untoward thing, thereunder is brewing, Nergal to his father Enki said. In Nibruki, the place of the bond heaven-earth, Enlil, the heavenly circuits, was watching. By the means of the tablets of destinies, celestial motions he was comparing. There is turmoil in the heavens, Enlil to his brother Enki said. From the planet Lamu, the place of the way station, Marduk to Enki his father was complaining. Strong winds are disturbing, annoying dust storms they are raising. So Marduk to his father Enki words was beaming. In the hammered bracelet, turmoils are occurring. Upon the earth, brimstones from the skies were falling. Pitiless demons havoc causing. Violently the earth they approached. Into flaming fires in the skies they were bursting. In a clay day darkness they were causing. With storms and evil winds they raged around.
So here you hear of these people, these beings from another planet on our planet. They just created a primitive worker race, and there's thousands of them. There's fucking tons, probably millions and billions of these things. And they're talking about fire and brimstone falling from the sky, from space. So, you know, when you talk about God sent fire and brimstone, but for them, no, God sent it. It fell from the damn sky because there was turmoil in the solar system. Something was coming through our solar system, messing it all up, throwing things around. Like Mars had no atmosphere, had very small atmosphere. So something blowing past Mars stirred up big windstorms that you could probably still see on Mars today. They talk about it.
Like stony missiles, the earth they were attacking. Kingu, Earth's moon, and Lamu, too, by these havocs were afflicted. The faces of all three with countless scars were covered. Enlil and Enki to Anu, the king, urgent words were beaming. Nibiru's savants they alerted. The earth and the moon and Lamu, a calamity unknown, are facing.
Yep.
From Nibiru, the savants were responding. Their words, the leaders' hearts were not calming. In the heavens, the family of the sun were taking stations. The celestials, of whom earth is the seventh in a row, were choosing places.
Do you understand what that means? So the people on Nibiru, the scientists on Nibiru, were calling back. They were calling, Mars and Earth and the moon were calling Nibiru, and they're like, hey, man, what do you guys see your way? Because something's all messed up over here. And Nibiru is like, yeah, you guys, you're about to be in our way. We're coming through the solar system, and you guys are going to be in our path. Like, what do we do? And so this is what they did. They were like, oh, fuck.
So I'm going to read these two one more time. In the heavens, the family of the sun, S-U-N, the family of the sun. What is the family of the sun?
Our sun.
Solar system.
Yeah, our solar system, Mars, Jupiter, Earth.
Were taking stations. They were
rotating around the sun and lining up.
Taking their spot.
Yeah, they were lining up for when this thing's coming through.
The celestials, of whom Earth is the seventh in a row, were choosing places.
Yes.
They were moving about and choosing their circuitry.
Yeah, but Earth, specifically Earth, they're saying Earth is choosing its place to be in the path of Nibiru.
In the heavens, Nibiru was approaching. The sun's abode it was nearing. By the seven, in a row arraigned, was Nibiru distracted. The path through the hammered bracelet it was missing. From the bracelet, bits and pieces it has been displacing. Bereft of the celestial bar, Lahamu with Mumu near the sun were crouching. In the heavens, Lahamu, her glorious dwelling place, was abandoning.
Or Band-Aid.
Toward Nibiru, the heavenly king, she was attracted. A queen of heaven she wished to be.
Which one?
Lahamu.
Lahamu. So that's what, Mars? Lamu and Lahamu?
No, Lahamu is not Mars. Lamu is Mars.
Our moon. So our moon was leaving our... What's that?
I don't think that's our moon either.
Yeah, Lamu and Lahamu. Lamu is I think our moon. Lahamu is Mars. So Mars was leaving station.
Kingu is Earth's moon. Lamu, Kingu, and Lamu, that's Mars. This is Lahamu.
What is that one?
I don't remember.
Whatever it is, it's leaving the station and going to join Nibiru.
Yeah. So one of the other planets beyond Mars.
Maybe that's Jupiter.
Lahamu and Mumu.
Yeah, I forget.
Could be Neptune and I don't know. I'm not sure.
One of those motherfuckers.
One of those planets is something doing something funny. In the heavens, Lahamu, her glorious dwelling place, was abandoning. She was leaving it. Toward Nibiru, the heavenly king, she was attracted. A queen of heaven she wished to be. So Nibiru was attracting that planet. To quell her, Nibiru from the celestial deep, a monstrous demon made appear. A monster once to Tiamat's host belonging, by the celestial battle fashioned.
So they're Tiamat's host. Okay. So it used to be one of Tiamat's moons. But when Nibiru smashed its fucking other moons or whatever through Tiamat and destroyed that planet, this rogue moon went shooting through the fucking whole solar system and it's stuck in our bubble. So it's got to come around like a boomerang, right? The people in Australia, they knew how the solar system worked. They knew it would come back, right? So it comes back. It don't ever just shoot across. It never goes anywhere. They all return and come back. So this thing has been written about throughout time as the red dragon. Wyvern. Go look that shit up. Wyvern. Go look it up.
Oh, shit. I moved my fucking thumb. A monster once to Tiamat's host belonging, by the celestial battle fashioned. From the celestial deep made its way. By Nibiru was it from slumber awakened. From horizon to the midst of heaven, like a flaming dragon, it was stretched. 1 league was its head, 50 leagues in length it was, awesome was its tail. By day the skies of earth it darkened. By night upon the face of the moon a spell of darkness it cast.
Do you understand that? So during the day, this thing streaking through the sky casted a shadow and made it dark. And at nighttime, it went across the moon and made the moon dark. No reflection. That's insane. Darkness.
To her brothers, the Celestials, Lahamu, for help was calling. Who will the dragon obstruct? Who will stop and kill it? She was asking. Only valiant Kingu, once Tiamat's protector, stepped forward to respond.
That's the moon. That's the moon. This is written about too. This damn fire dragon beast hit our moon. Our moon took it, and there's a scar on the moon to this day.
To intercept the dragon in its path, Kingu was making haste.
Boom.
Fierce was the encounter. A tempest of clouds upon Kingu was raised. By its foundations was Kingu shaken. From the impact did the moon quake and shake. Then the heavenly havoc was calmed. Nibiru, to its distant abode in the deep, was returning. Lahamu, its dwelling place, did not abandon. The stony missiles upon the earth and Lamu ceased their reigning. Enki and Enlil with Marduk and Ninurta gathered. A surveying of the havoc they undertook. The foundations of the earth Enki surveyed. Of what its platforms had befallen, he examined. The depths of the oceans he measured. In earth's far corners, the mountains of gold and copper he scanned. Of the vital gold, there will be no shortage, thus was Enki saying. In the Eden, Ninurta was the surveyor. Where mountains trembled, the valleys shook. In his skyship, he soared and journeyed. The landing platform was intact. In the valleys of the north, the earth fiery liquids was pouring. So was Ninurta to his father Enlil telling. Sulfuric mists and bitumens he was discovering. On Lamu, the atmosphere was damaged. Dust storms were the life and work interfering. So Marduk and Enki was saying.
Lamu, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Mars.
To earth return I wish, to his father he disclosed. Enlil to his olden plans betook himself. What cities and their tasks he planned he reconsidered. A chariot place in the Eden must be established, to the others he was saying. The old designs of the layout on the crystal tablet to them he showed. The conveying of the landing place to the way station on Lamu is no longer certain. To soar toward Nibiru from Earth we must be able, so was Enlil to them saying.
So basically Mars is fucked up because that red dragon went flying through and made Mars just no good anymore. It took the rest of his atmosphere and made the dust storms on Mars, which we know they have today. Okay, so that was created then. Marduk was like, hey man, listen, we need to be able to take this shit straight from Earth, straight to Nibiru, because this way station's lost. And they're like, oh shit. So we got all this stuff going on. This has been written about by other cultures. Before this was ever discovered, this other cultures throughout history has written about this red dragon that they saw flying through the sky. They call it Wyvern now. And it actually hit our moon. People witnessed it hit our moon. Our moon burned. Our moon was on fire. You know what I'm saying? That's why a big dust cloud. Imagine if our moon one day was like, there's people that reported not ever seen a moon before. What if the moon was always there? But what if there was like life there and trees and grass? And what if this thing fucking hit it and turned it to fire? And what we see now is just dust. What if it's crystal dust? And that's why it's so reflective. You know what I mean? It's literally burnt shit.
Sounds like that's exactly what happened to Mars.
Yeah, Mars got fucked up.
For the count since the first splashdown, the count of 80 shars it was.
Oh, so 80 shars since the day they splashed down. Okay. So let me do this math real quick. Cheers, everybody. Shouts out to all you for being here. You can be anywhere in the world, but you're here today. Even if you think it's BS, you're still here watching.
You're still here.
So, I watch these movies too called like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and stuff. They're super dope stories, man. So let's see. We got 86 times 3,600. That's 309,600 earthling years, human years. Okay, now I want you also to remember, she said that the first Anunnaki that came here, they had children here. They got married here on Earth. They got married. They're from a different planet, but they came here, got married. They had children. They're Anunnaki, but those children were born here. Each generation that was born here on Earth aged faster and had shorter lifespans. Okay.
The longer they were here, the shorter everything got.
The faster they aged.
Yeah.
So if somebody stayed here from the beginning, he could literally be a 10,000-year-old gray wizard. Old, long gray hair, long dreads, whatever you see a wizard as, knowing magic, because you're going to find out that was what their religion was. They all worship science and vibration, frequency, man. Good vibrations. Feel it.
We forgot to share that for the picture.
Oh, it's right here. Well, yeah,
That's okay.
shit.
That's okay. Okay.
It's supposed to be here like this. My man.
Now, this is the account of the journey to the moon by Enki and Marduk, and how Enki, the 3 ways of heaven, and the constellations determined.
So before this, there was no constellations. There were stars that they could see in the sky, but there were no constellations. Before this, there were no ways of heaven, okay? Like we know the Milky Way, that's the path of Anu. You're going to see.
Let the place of the chariots near Bad Tabira, the metal city, be established. Therefrom, let the gold from earth to Nibiru in the chariots directly be carried. So Ninurta of Bad Tabira, the commander, to them words was saying. Enlil, to the words of Ninurta, his son, gave heed. Of his son's wisdom, he was proud. To Anu, the king Enlil, the plan quickly conveyed. To him, words he was saying. Thank you, yes. Okay. Let a place of celestial chariots in the Eden be established. Near the place where the gold ores are smelted and refined, let it be built. Let the pure gold in the chariots directly from earth to Nibiru be carried.
Jerusalem.
Let the pure, I already said that. Directly to the earth from Nibiru, let heroes and supplies be coming. Of great merit is the plan of my brother.
That's Jerusalem. That's the landing spot.
Enki to their father Anu was saying. A great disadvantage in its core it is holding. The net pull of earth is than Lamu's much greater. To overcome it, our power shall be exhausted.
You hear that? So they're physically saying that the earth's net pull, what is gravity? Net pull. They're telling you what it is. The magnetic force of them trying to get off of the planet is too powerful. It exhausts all of their energy. Man, they travel space. Why can't we get off this planet?
Before there is rush to deciding, let us an alternative examine. Nearby the earth, a companion it has. The moon it is. Smaller is its net pull. Ascent and descent thereon little effort will require.
There you go.
Let us it as a way station consider. Let me and Marduk thereto journey. The 2 plans Anu the king before counselors and savants for considering presented. Let the moon be first examined, the king they did advise. Let the moon be first examined, Anu to Enki and Enlil the decision beamed. Enki was greatly joyed. The moon to him always was alluring. Whether somewhere waters it is hiding, what atmosphere it possesses, he did always wonder. In sleepless nights, its silvery cool disk with bewitchment he observed. Its waxing and waning, a game with the sun played, a wonder of wonders he deemed.
You heard that, right? The waxing and waning, a game the sun played with the sun. It's a game that played with the sun, but that's the sun's reflection on the thing. So as it's the earth spinning around and the moon's going, sun's going, that's the Trinity right there. You heard that. The sun is doing that, not the earth. People think it's the earth's covering it and stuff like that. It's where the sun is at, is how you get the reflection of the moon. The earth has nothing to do with it. It's the sun is behind the earth, is around the earth, and is making that waxing and waning, because once we have a no moon, there's a full moon on the other side of the moon. Seriously.
What secrets from the beginning it held he wished to uncover. In a rocket ship did Enki and Marduk to the moon journey. Thrice they the earth's companion encircled. The deep wound by the dragon caused they observed. By many hollows the handiwork of smashing demons was the moon's face marked. In a place of rolling hills they set the rocket ship down. In its midst they landed. From the place the earth they could observe, and the expanse of the heavens. Eagles' helmets they had to don. The atmosphere was for breathing insufficient. With ease they walked about. In this and that direction they went. The evil's dragon's handiwork was dryness and desolation. Unlike Lamu it was, for a way station it is unsuitable, to his father Marduk was saying.
So you heard that. After the dragon hit the moon, it left it in dryness and desolation. Dude, what does that tell you? That could literally have been the moon of Endor. Literally.
Let us abandon this place. Let us to earth return. Do not be hasty, my son, so was Enki to Marduk saying. You are not by the celestial dance of earth and moon and sun enchanted? Unobstructed from here is the viewing. The quarter of the sun is at hand. The earth, like a globe in the void, by nothing is hanging. With our instruments, we can scan the distant heavens. The handiwork of the creator of all, in this solitude we can admire.
So you see how they're looking at it. They're sitting on the moon in such a way that they're above everything. They say our planet sits like this. The moon kind of sits at an angle up here. So if they're sitting on if they're sitting on the top of the moon, they're witnessing everything. They're seeing over the earth. They can see the whole earth and all of its roundness. They see how it's hanging in the middle of space all by itself. They can see the sun. They can see how the earth and the sun and the moon all rotate and all are in unison together. They're witnessing this happening as they're sitting their ass in spacesuits on the moon, just chilling, smoking their herb, watching it. Fuck yes, dude. Give me some of that.
Let us stay. The circuits observe. How the moon circles the earth. How the earth its circuits around the sun is making. So Enki, by the sights agitated, to his son Marduk was saying. By his father's words, Marduk was persuaded. In the rocket ship they made their dwelling. For 1 circuit of earth, for 3 circuits on the moon, they remained. Its motions about the earth they measured. The duration of a month they calculated. For 6 circuits of earth, for 12 circuits about the sun, earth's year was measured. How the two were entwined, causing the luminaries to disappear, they recorded. Then to the sun's quarter they attention gave. The paths of Mumu and Lahamu they studied. With the earth and the moon, Lamu, the sun's second quarter, constituted. 6 were the celestials of the lower waters. So was Enki to Marduk explaining. 6 were the celestials of the upper waters, beyond the bar, the hammered bracelet they were. Anshar and Kishar, Anu and Nidimud, Gaga and Nibiru. These were the 6 others.
You heard it. Okay. Where's the firmament? The firmament is the hammered bracelet. The waters below and the waters above. There are 4, right? 4 in or 5, 4 or 5 in the lower waters. We are in the waters below. Then there's a firmament, being the hammer bracelet, and then from there are, a whole bunch of planets in the waters above. They're observing all of this and naming it, calling it so, right? It was later changed into completely something different.
It was 6 and 6. 12 were they in all.
Oh, 6 and 6. So there's 12 celestial bodies in total that they're observing in our solar system. Not saying they're all moons and suns or stars. I'm saying they were observing 12 actual things.
Mostly. 12 were they in all. Of 12 did the sun and its family make the count. Of the upheavals most recent, Marduk of his father was inquiring, why have 7 celestials in a row places taken? So was he his father asking. Their circuits about the sun Enki then considered. Their grand band around the sun, their progenitor, Enki carefully observed. The positions of earth and moon therein on a chart Enki marked out. By the motions of Nibiru, of the sun not a descendant, the width of the great band he outlined. The way of Anu, the king, to name it Enki decided. In the expanse of the deep heavens, the stars did father and son observe. By their proximities and groupings was Enki fascinated. By the circuit of the heavens from horizon to horizon, he drew images of 12 constellations. In the great band, the way of Anu, one each with the sun's family of 12 he paired. To each one he designated a station. By names they were to be called. Then in the heavens, below the way of Anu, whence Nibiru, the sun is approaching. A band-like way he designed, the way of Enki, it designated. To it 12 constellations by their shapes he also allotted. The heavens above the way of Anu, the upper tier, the way of Enlil he called. Therein too the stars into 12 constellations he assembled. 36 were the stars' constellations. In the 3 ways were they located.
Now, who's ever heard of that? Who's ever heard of that? Isn't that like in your Torah? 12 tribes split up into 3, divided by 2 times 5, 12, or some shit like that. Like, right? Y'all seen it? Y'all seen the thing I'm talking about? There's portals, tribes, right? They're all the same. Constellations, right? These are the paths that they would take. And you say, what the fuck are you talking about? Now imagine if I'm flying through space. It's black as fuck. I don't know what's where. There's no stars in space. You see stars because it's a reflection off of whatever the fuck is stopping that light and it's hitting it, right? But out there, once you get so far, there's no light. Just like in our dark blackness, you can turn the light on, and once you get so far, that light ceases to exist. You know what I'm saying? You have to have mass in front of it to make that light, things come to light. So what they have to do is they have to shoot to this star, and then to that star, and then to that star, and then to that star to get home, to figure out how the fuck they go home, right? And now they also measure it when these stars all line up back in this order is when, say, Anu was able to be close enough to our planet to where he could just come over real quick, because he wasn't doing all that space travel and shit. He wanted as soon when they was close, when they was outside of Jupiter and shit. They talked about it. Most of the time, they ended up on the outside of Little Gaga, right? So that's on the outside of Pluto. If you guys think that's Pluto, I would think that's probably Pluto. It's one of those planets. And then they would fly in from there. So they really had weird fucking courses, and only randomly once in a fucking whenever long periods of time will they ever come into our solar system and actually affect stuff. And we have all these things called later bombardments and blah, blah, blahs throughout our history that now look like just a solar system thing, a solar incident happening, spaceships coming through our belt, planets coming too close, the frequencies pushing them, you know what I'm saying? Like there was things getting launched out of there. They were shooting those brimstone and fire, you know. Pretty soon you're going to hear about the butthole surfers. The butthole surfers, twin cities, the first 2 cities ever built were these twin cities. And they were destroyed by brimstone and fire, said to be sent by God. But, you know, God is also this planet called Nibiru, frequency. They worship the crossing of this planet at that specific time. So to reference it that God brought brimstone and fire, hell yeah, because this planet brought the fucking rocks. And as soon as rocks hit our atmosphere, right, our frequency, our magnetosphere, right, they turned to fire. And that shit came down with the quickness, and just so happened it shit right on these 2 cities. It was crazy.
Henceforth, when Nibiru nears and departs from Earth by the stars' stations, its course shall be known. So will the Earth's position designated as around the sun it travels.
Around.
The start of the cycle of celestial time, the measure, Enki to Marduk indicated. When on Earth I had arrived, the station that was ending by me, the station of the fishes, was named. The one that followed after my name, title, he of the waters, I called.
Age of Aquarius.
So Enki, with satisfaction and pride to his son Marduk, was saying, your wisdom the heavens embraces, your teachings my own understanding extend. But on Earth and on Nibiru, knowledge and rulership are separated. So did Marduk to his father say, my son, what is that you do not know? What is it that you are missing? To him Enki was saying, the secrets of the heavens, the secrets of the earth, with you have I shared. Alas, my father, Marduk was saying. There was agony in his voice. When the Anunnaki and the Abzu, the toil ceased, and the primitive workers you set to fashion. Not my mother, but Ninmah, the mother of Ninurta, to assist you was summoned. But not I, but Ningazida, of me the younger, to help you was invited. With them, not with me, your knowledge of life and death did you share. My son, Enki to Marduk responded, to you command was given of the Igigi and Lamu to be supreme. Alas, my father, to him Marduk was saying, of supremacy by fate we are deprived. You, my father, are Anu's firstborn, yet Enlil, not you, is the legal heir. You, my father, were first to splash down, and Eridu establish. Yet Eridu is in Enlil's domain. Yours is the distant Abzu. I am your firstborn. By your legitimate spouse on Nibiru was I born. Yet the gold in the city of Ninurta is assembled, therefrom to send or to withhold. The survival of Nibiru is in his hands. In my hands it is not. Now to earth we are returning. What will my task be? Am I to fame the kingship fated, or again to humiliated be? In silence did Enki embrace his son. On the desolate moon to him a promise made. Of that of which I have been deprived, your future lot shall be. Your celestial time will come. A station mine adjoining yours shall be.
A station mine adjoining yours. Okay, so he was Pisces. Then the next age was Aquarius, right? The age of the fish is Pisces, right? The next age is the water is Aquarius, right? I might be wrong. But so he said the station adjoining his would be Marduk's time, right? So they were already there for 309,000 years, right? So this all had happened in that time. And time all those stars had gone back around and joined their station again and again. So when this time comes back around and this station turns to be what they're looking at right there, and they've made it those stations, when that time came again, Marduk's time to rule would come. And this time comes because Marduk is Ra. Marduk built everything in North America. You don't believe so? Watch this. It's coming.
Now this is the account of Sipar, the place of the chariots in the Eden, and how the primitive workers to the Eden were returned. For many circuits of the earth, from the earth were father and son absent. On earth no plans were implemented. On Lamu the Igigi were in turmoil. Enlil to Anu secret words conveyed. His concerns to Anu he from Nibiru beamed. Enki and Marduk to the moon have gone. For countless circuits they are staying.
Yep.
Their doings a mystery are. What they are scheming is not known. Marduk, the way station on Lamu, has abandoned. The Igigi are agog. My dust storms has the way station been affected. What damage there is to us is not known. The place of the chariots in the Eden must be established. Therefrom the gold directly from earth to Nibiru to be carried. No way station on Lamu shall henceforth be needed. The plan of Ninurta it is, great in these matters is his understanding. Let him the place of the chariots bear bad to Bira establish. Let Ninurta be its first commander. Anu to the words of Enlil gave much consideration. To Enlil a response he gave. Enki and Marduk to earth are returning. What about the moon they have found? Let us first to their words listen. From the moon Enki and Marduk departed. To earth they did return. Of conditions thereon they gave account. A way station is unfeasible now, so they reported. Let the place of the chariots be built, Anu was saying. Let Marduk be its commander, Enki was saying to Anu. The task is for Ninurta set aside, Enlil with anger shouted. For the Igigi command is no more needed. Of the tasks Marduk knowledge has. Of the gateway to heaven, let Marduk be in charge. So did Enki to his father say.
Gateway to heaven.
Anu, the matter with concern contemplated. Rivalries now the sons have affected. With wisdom was Anu endowed. With wisdom were his decisions. The place of the chariots, for new ways the gold to handle, is designated. Let us with henceforth comes in the hands of a new generation place. Neither Enlil nor Enki, neither Ninurta nor Marduk in command shall be.
You heard that, right? So not the first generation, not the second generation. We got the millennials now. We're like, hey, we should be in charge. You guys suck. We're the ones here living on Earth as Earthlings. They literally were passing the time exactly the same age as the people that they created, right? And it proves it because why? When Enki and Marduk were on the moon, they're up there just chilling. They spent years on the moon recording everything. To them, it's just fucking time. It's just whatever because they're from Nibiru. But the people from Earth were tripping. That's what agog means. Very anxious and eager to see or learn something. What's wrong? Where are my people at? It's been years. Why isn't Marduk returned back to the command? What's going on? What do they know? What are they hiding from us? And to them, they're just like, oh, it was that long. Shit. We didn't even really realize you guys were taking time like that. Damn. But they were from the beginning, you know.
Let the third generation responsibility undertake. Let Utu be the commander. Let the place of the celestial chariots be built. Let Sipar, bird city, be its name. This was the word of Anu. Unalterable was the word of the king. In the 81st Shar was the construction started. The plans of Enlil it followed. Nibiru was in the center. A navel of the earth by Enlil it was designated. As on circles by their place and distances the olden cities were located. Like an arrow from the lower sea towards the mountains, pointing they were arrayed. A line on the twin peaks of Arata, to the skies in the north reaching, he drew. Where the pointing arrow the Arata line intersected, the place for Sipar, the earth's place of the chariots, he marked out. To it the arrow directly led. It from Nibruki was by an equal circle precisely located. Ingenious was the plan. By its precision all were made to wonder. In the 82nd Shar was the construction of Sipar completed. To the hero Utu of Enlil the grandson, its command was given. An eagle's helmet for him was fashioned. With eagle's wings was he decorated.
You hear that? So he had helmet for flying, like for in the sky, and they gave him freaking wings. They gave this dude eagle's wings. They were fashioned, right? So basically, he had a flying fucking suit. There's your angel. They fashioned fucking wings for him, dude, so he could fly.
In the first chariot from Nibiru to Sipar directly come, Anu was traveling. To view for himself the installations he desired, to marvel at what was attained he wanted. For the occasion, the Igigi, by Marduk commanded, from Lamu to earth came down.
From occasion, he would come to earth with the Igigi. Now, remember, all these places that she just read about, you were like, wait a minute, we were just talking about 86 Shar. Now, why are we back at the 81st Shar? At the 86th Shar, they were on the moon talking. He said, it's been 86 years since we've been here, 86 Shar since we've been here, so we recorded that time. Then they flew back to the earth, and then they go back in memory. They go back to when it was the 81st Shar, and they started building all these cities that we talk about, right? Bad Tibera, the metal building city, all these different cities that they're building for the Anunnaki and the slave workers, right? The primitive worker race. So then we go further up in time. Enki's building all these things, and he's setting commanders, the grandchildren, right, of Enlil or Enki, the grandchildren. Those are the millennials, right? The third generation of people are being left in charge. That third generation is having a fourth generation. They're getting married. They're creating a fourth generation. That fourth generation is getting married, creating a fifth generation, all the way up until today. And we look like this, and there's Anunnaki still on this planet rolling us. It's crazy, isn't it?
For the occasion, the Igigi, by Marduk commanded, from Lamu to earth came down. From the landing place and from the Abzu, Anunnaki were assembled. There was backslapping and hailing, a feast and a celebration.
I want you to hold 1 second. I forgot about that spot. So they say God landed on Temple Mount in Jerusalem. The Almighty High, the All High, right? So in their civilization, the Most High is the king of their planet. Okay, so that would be Anu. So, you know, when you say God landed there, or the Most High landed there, hell yeah, the Most High did land on that specific spot, Temple Mount in Jerusalem. That is the landing spot. This shirt looks dope. It's like shining and shit. But that's the landing spot, Temple Mount, Jerusalem. That's why they're waiting for God to land back there. I'm telling you, if God lands there, he's going to crush all that shit that's on top of that landing platform, because that's originally, there was nothing on it. It was a humongous landing platform, flat as shit, and they landed spaceships there. That's what he did, and this is what they're talking about right here.
For Anu, Inanna, Enlil's granddaughter, singing and dancing presented. With affection, Anu kissed her. Anunitu, Anu's beloved, he fondly called her. Before departing, Anu, the heroes and heroines, assembled. A new era has begun, so was he to them saying.
A new era on earth.
Supplied directly with the golden salvation, forthcoming is the end of toil.
Yep.
Once enough gold on Nibiru for protecting is piled in storage. The toil on earth can be diminished. Heroes and heroines to Nibiru will return. Thus did Anu the king to the assembled promise. A great hope to them he did extend. A few more shars of toil, and homeward they shall be bound. With much pomp did Anu and Nibiru soar back. Gold, pure gold, with him was carried. His new task, Utu, with cherish performed. Ninurta of Bad Tabira command retained. Marduk on Lamu did not return. With his father to the Abzu he did not go. Over all the lands he wished to roam, in his skyship the earth to comprehend. Of the Igigi, some on Lamu, some on earth, Utu was the commander made. After Anu to Nibiru returned, on earth the leaders great expectations had. With renewed vigor to labor, the Anunnaki they expected. Gold quickly to amass, thereby quicker homebound to be. That, alas, was not what came to pass.
Oh, shit.
In the Abzu, relief, not continued toil, was the Anunnaki's expectation. Now that the earthlings are proliferating, let them provide the labor. So were the Anunnaki in the Abzu saying. In the Eden, the tasks were greater, more abodes, more provisions were required. For primitive workers, to the Abzu confined, did the Eden heroes clamor. For 40 shars was relief only to the Abzu provided. The heroes in the Eden shouted, "Our toil has increased beyond endurance. Let us have the workers too." While Enlil and Enki the matter were debating, Ninurta the decision into his hands took. With 50 heroes, an expedition to the Abzu he led. With weapons were they armed. In the forests and the steeps of the Abzu, the earthlings they chased. With nets they them captured. Male and female to the Eden they them brought. To do all manners of chores. In the orchards and in the cities they trained them. By the doings was Enki angered. By them was Enlil enraged. My expelling of Adamu and Tiamat you have overturned. So Enlil to Ninurta said, let the mutiny once in the Abzu occurring, not in the Eden, be repeated. So to Enlil Ninurta said, with the earthlings in the Eden, the heroes are becalmed. A few more shars, and it will no longer matter. So did Ninurta to Enlil say. Enlil was not appeased. With grumbling, let it so be, to his son he said. Let the gold pile up quickly. Let us all to Nibiru soon return. In the Eden, the Anunnaki, the earthlings with admiration observed. Intelligence they possessed, of commands they had understanding.
So remember, they got kicked out because Enki upgraded them with the essence from his rib into the essence of theirs, and then gave them knowledge. It gave them a little bit more of the Anunnaki DNA, which upgraded them just a little bit from being an animal going ooh ooh ooh. It gave them primitive words. It gave them understanding of what they were being told. They were able to use tools. They were able to do everything, but they got banished from the Eden to the Abzu. So they were only the Anunnaki, like High Council used them as slaves, and then they were in the Abzu. They said where they were at, right? They were not in Eden. In the Eden, they were building all these damn cities for all the heroes coming there and all the kids, Anunnaki kids that were being born. You know, Jericho and wherever all those different biblical cities you guys talk about all the time. All those cities they built. The Anunnaki built this stuff, okay? And in there, in the Eden, they're like, hey, man, we need some of your slaves, bro. We should have those too. That's the bullshit. Why do we got to work? You know what I mean? They're like, hey, we got to get them. And they were like, no, we're going to go Planet of the Apes on this shit. They went over to the Abzu. They went over to Australia, the Abzu, right? The Abzu. Go gas the Australian Aborigines, what they call Australia. They'll probably say the Abzu, right? So they went over there. They started catching all the people that were there and taking them back to the Eden, which was a humongous area, huge.
They took over all manners of chores. Unclothed they were.
Naked, butt naked.
Unclothed they were, the tasks performing. Males with females among them were constantly mating. Quick were their proliferations.
Like rabbits.
In one shar, sometimes 4, sometimes more, were their generations. As the earthlings grew in numbers, workers the Anunnaki had.
You heard that? Generations were being born because thousands and thousands of years. To the Anunnaki, They're just sitting there for a year, and they're like, holy shit, like whole goddamn generations of you have been born and died. Like right in front of my eyes, man. Like, holy shit, they were so shocked watching this happen right before their eyes.
As the Earthlings grew in numbers, workers the Anunnaki had. With food, the Anunnaki were not satiated. In the cities and in the orchard, in the valleys and in the hills, the Earthlings for food were constantly foraging. In those days, grains had not yet been brought forth. There was no ewe, a lamb had not yet been fashioned. About these matters, Enlil to Enki angry words was saying, by your doings confusion was created, by you let salvation be devised. Now this is the account of how civilized man was brought about.
Real quick. So, you know, when science talks about hunters-gatherers and people were wanderers and nomadic and stuff like that. So here we're hearing a story how it was centralized in these kind of areas, right? And they kept them in these areas. They built walls around the Eden. They said they did. They built walls where the upright people would walk or live. The uprights would live. Maybe they meant the buildings. I don't fucking know. It was walled. It was all walled, this whole huge fucking area. So when you say like the wall of China, imagine that was around the whole goddamn area. Who knows? So they didn't leave this area, like they stayed in there. But it's describing how they ran out of food. There were so many freaking people. Y'all seen Noah, right? That movie. How many damn people there were? They ate everything. There was nothing left. They ate it all, right? And they were wandering. So imagine a couple of them, they get so far and they're like, man, let's not go back. Let's go over there. It looks real nice over there. And think about it. We don't have to be slaves to them. We can go over there because guess what? They were still humans. And free will was always a thing. As soon as they got that upgrade, they had that free will. They were just controlled. I thought that was
Sorry. Yeah.
They were just controlled a little bit more because they were being fed. That's why when you feed a fucking animal, they stay, don't they? Don't they? When you feed animals and give them shelter, they stay. They don't want to wander. But some of them, I guarantee, were like, yo, let's go over there. Hey, my woman, I can take care of you right over there. The same way we do there, we can do right over there. And look, there's food over there. They haven't found this yet. It's a secret spot. I guarantee every once in a while, a couple of them wandered off, and all they got to do is start mating. They were used to banging each other. They all banged each other. Didn't matter if you was a daughter or sister. Once you was old enough, they all started having sex. They didn't say they paired up genetically. No, there was two in the beginning. From those two, genetic copies were made. Those genetic copies banged each other, and then banged each other. That's all the same DNA. Exactly the same. It's insane, I know. It's like the same thing reproducing with the same thing over and over again. When you look at the genetic code, we look at it as male, female kind of thing, but genetically, they're exactly the same.
Now, this is the account of how civilized man was brought about. How by a secret of Enki, Adapa and Titi in the Eden were brought forth. By the proliferation of the earthlings, Enki was pleased. Enki was worried. The lot of the Anunnaki was greatly eased. Their discontent was diminished. By the proliferation, the Anunnaki shunned toil. The workers as serfs were becoming. For 7 shars, the Anunnaki's lot was greatly eased.
What's a serf mean?
SERFS. Probably.
Let's see. What's serf mean? No, not that meaning. It's serf.
SERF.
I thought it was SEAR. The definition is a statement of a meaning of a term. It's getting classified. Subject, I think. Now, are just called labor bound under the feudal system to work on his lord's estate.
Ooh, an agricultural laborer bound under the feudal system to work on his lord's estate.
You hear that, right? So they created an entire race of serfs, slaves, right here. Go read the whole thing of slavery they abolished, right? You're gonna hear that shit, man. They created a certain race of people for this specific task. And then they created another race of people for a completely different task.
The lot of the Anunnaki was greatly eased. Their discontent was diminished. By the proliferation, the Anunnaki shunned toil. The workers as serfs were becoming. For 7 shars, the Anunnaki's lot was greatly eased. Diminished was their discontent. By the proliferation of the earthlings, what by itself was growing for all insufficient was. In 3 more shars of fish and fowl there was a shortage. What by itself grows, Anunnaki and earthlings did not satiate. In his heart, Enki, a new undertaking, was scheming. To create a civilized mankind, in his heart he conceived.
Civilized mankind.
Grains that are sown by them to be cultivated. Ewes that become sheep, let them shepherd. In his heart, Enki, a new undertaking, was scheming. How this to attain he contemplated. The primitive workers in the Abzu he for his scheme observed. The earthlings in the Eden, in the cities, and in the orchard he considered. What could for the tasks make them suited? But what by the life essence has not been combined?
He's looking at breeding projects. He's pheno hunting.
The offspring of the earthlings he observed. An alarming matter he noticed. By their repeated copulations back toward their wild forebears, they were degraded.
You hear this? So he put the genetic marker on that, but through genetic washout, right? We talk about this in cannabis all the time. This is how it happens in the real shit, right? You have to make it stable, or else the genetic washout, it will revert back to its original mother. Okay, not the father, because then it would be Anunnaki. Anunnaki was the dad. It originates back to the original mother, right? Insane. Animal form.
Enki in the marshlands looked about. On the rivers he sailed and observed. With him was only Isimud, his vizier, whose secrets kept. On the river's bank, bathing and frolicking earthlings he noticed. 2 females among them were wild with beauty. Firm were their breasts. Their sight, the phallus of Enki caused to water. A burning desire he had. Shall I not kiss the young ones? Enki, his vizier Isimud, was asking. I, the boat, will hither row. Kiss the young ones, Isimud, to Enki was saying.
Daring them. Double dog dare you.
The boat thereto, Isimud directed. From the boat to dry land, Enki stepped.
By kissing, they mean bang.
A young one to him Enki called. A tree fruit she to him offered. Enki bent down. The young one he embraced. On her lips he kissed her. Sweet were her lips. Firm with ripeness were her breasts. Into her womb he poured his semen. In a mating he knew her. Into her womb she took the holy semen. By the semen of the Lord Enki she was impregnated. The second young one to him Enki called. Berries from the field she him offered. Enki bent down. The young one he embraced. On her lips he kissed her. Sweet were her lips. Firm with ripeness were her breasts. Into her womb he poured his semen. In a mating he knew her. Into her womb she took the holy semen. By the semen of the Lord Enki she was impregnated.
Boom.
With the young ones stay, whether pregnancies come about ascertain. So was Enki to his vizier Isimud saying. Isimud by the young ones sat down. By the 4th count their bulges appeared. By the 10th count, the 9th having been completed, the first young one squatted and birth gave. By her a male child was born. The second young one squatted and gave birth. By her a female child was born. At dawn and dusk, which a day delimit. On the same day, the two were born. The gracious ones, dawn and dusk. Thereafter, in legends, they were known.
So as we hear this story right here, we're hearing about Lord Enki going and finding Tiamat, okay, because they didn't have names. They weren't known as Mary or anything like that. The males were all Adamu. The females were all Tiamat. That was their marker, their genetic code. They were tools. Go grab me a hoe. Doesn't matter if it's got this kind of hand or that kind of hand. It's a hoe. Go grab me a shovel. Doesn't matter if it's got fiberglass or wood. Go grab me it. Go get me a shovel, right? So that's what they were. One's a shovel, one's a hoe. You know what I mean? And that's what they were until Lord Enki came out of the Abzu and was like, let me go see about these chicks over here. He poured his holy semen in them. And now it's Lord Enki has sex with Tiamat, and then he has sex with another Tiamat, right? The exact same genetic code marker. One spits out a female that is TT, and one spits out the other one, which you know as Adam and Eve, the original Adam and Eve story that makes Cain and Abel, right? They are known as dawn and dusk. Why the fuck would they be known as dawn and dusk? Why do you think they would be known as dawn and dusk? I mean, they were born on the same day. You know what I mean? Was one light, one dark? You think so?
No. One was born and that was it, a dawn and dusk, which a day delimit. On the same day the two were born.
Yeah.
One at dawn and one at dusk.
Yeah, one at dawn, one at dusk. Maybe one was light, one was black. One was dark, one was light. Maybe they were the same color. Were they the same color? Who knows?
It doesn't say anything about color.
Nothing about color. Oh, good. Then we don't have to decipher that one.
In the 93rd Shar, the two by Enki fathered in the Eden were born.
Okay, hold on. Let me get this math.
93rd.
93 times 3,600 equals 334,800 years was the year that Lord Enki birthed Adam and Eve, and then starts the New Testament. Isn't that right? No, the New Testament don't start until after the flood, right? Yes. All right, so yeah, we're in Adam and Eve. In the beginning. God said, let there be light, 7 days, blah, blah, blah. There's two people naked walking around, and then a snake comes up. There was no snake. They never knew about a serpent.
The time when they saw the snake and the time when Adam and Eve were born is 334,800 years between that time.
Well, no, I think it was at 144,000 years is when they created man. When they created Adamu and Tiamat.
Oh, well,
now 334,800 years. So basically almost double that, basically, or something like that. Mm-hmm. They create, it's Lord Enki all by himself. This time he don't have no group of scientists, no geneticists. He already knows those people are us. They were just shorter, right? They lived longer of a time, so they can literally go up to them and grab them and have sex with them. Okay, they can do all kinds of different freaky ass shit that you're going to learn about on this program here called Ganja Gospel, and learn about the grower, master grower on this planet, grower of the trees. He's about to be born.
Word of the births Isimud to Enki quickly brought. By the births, Enki was ecstatic. Whoever such a thing has ever known. Between Anunnaki and Earthling, conception was attained. Civilized man I have brought into being. To his vizier Isimud, Enki instructions gave. A secret must my deed remain. Let the newborns by their mothers be suckled. Thereafter into my household them bring. Among the bulrushes and reed baskets have I them found. Thus to all you will say. By their mothers were the newborn suckled and nurtured. To Enki's household in Eridu thereafter Isimud them brought. Among the bulrushes and reed baskets have I them found. So did Isimud to all say.
You heard that. So they lied about where they found these kids. They didn't say, yeah, Lord Enki went out there and banged two of the Tiamats and fucking made these two kids. Nope. They're like, yo, We found them as later you're going to find Noah floating down the river in a reed basket. Yo, we found him and he was like, we got these kids, man. We got to take care of them and shit. No, they didn't got a mom, man. Let's put them in the zoo. They put him in the zoo, not the Ab Zoo, the Eden.
Ninki to the foundlings a liking took. As her own children, she raised them. Adapa, the foundling, the boy she called.
Adapa.
Titi, one with life, the
Titi.
girl she named. Unlike all other earthling children, the twosome were. Slower to grow up than earthlings they were. Much quicker in understanding they were.
So hold on 1 second. So the original race that's on Earth are growing up quick. The earthlings, the original, slave race, the primitive workers, they're growing up quicker. The new generation, the new upgrade is growing slower, right? We're growing up slower and shit. We're going to slow down. Oh, shit. Can you go and read that one again?
I sure will. Unlike all other earthling children, the twosome were. Slower to grow up than earthlings they were. Much quicker in understanding they were. With intelligence they were endowed. Of speaking with words capable they were.
Yep.
Beautiful and pleasant was the girl. With her hands she was greatly dexterous. Ninki, the spouse of Enki, to Titi took a liking. All manner of crafts she was her teaching. To Adapa, Enki himself teachings gave. How to keep records he was him instructing. The achievements with pride Enki to Isamud was showing. A civilized man have I brought forth. To Isamud he was saying,
No.
A new kind of earthling from my seed has been created, in my image and after my likeness. From seed they food will grow. From ewes, sheep they will shepherd. Anunnaki and earthlings henceforth shall be satiated.
Now you hear that right there. Hold on 1 second. So the woman, TT, at Eve, she was taught all manners of craft, right? Craft, not making fucking a picture, making a fucking cool shirt. No, manner of craft. How to cook, clean, do all the things. Craft, build houses probably. Craft fucking pottery, craft, right? Like craft fucking spells and shit. She was taught all the things like the woman would be taught from Nibiru, right? Because she grew up with a female Anunnaki as her mother, right? And the Enki took an Adam under his wing and taught Adapa, and taught him all manners of bookkeeping, just like the man does in the fucking, pays the bills and fucking goes to work and fucking keeps the book right and shit like that. Make sure the systems are working correctly, right? So they taught them these things. That's insane how it is the fucking same way now. It's weird.
From seed, food will grow. From ewes, sheep, they will shepherd.
Ew.
Anunnaki and earthlings henceforth shall be satiated. To his brother Enlil, Enki word sent. From Nibruki to Eridu, Enlil came. In the wilderness, a new kind of earthling has come forth. To Enlil was Enki saying, quick of learning they are. Knowledge and craftwork to them can be taught. Let us from Nibiru seeds that are sown bring down. Let us from Nibiru ewes that sheep become to earth deliver.
So they brought seeds from a different planet to Earth to grow here on Earth as stuff we have here right now. They brought the sheep. There was never a sheep on this planet. They brought it. They didn't even create it here. They brought it from their planet here. How the fuck does the sun have a sheep on it? I don't know, but they brought it here.
Let us from Nibiru seeds that are sown bring down. Let us from Nibiru ewes that sheep become to earth deliver. Let us the new breed of earthlings farming and shepherding teach. Let Anunnaki and earthlings together satiated be. So is Enki to Enlil saying. Akin to us Anunnaki in many ways. Indeed they are, Enlil to his brother said. A wonder of wonders it is, in the wilderness by themselves to have come about. Isamud was summoned. Among the bulrushes and reed baskets I them found, he said. Enlil the matter with graveness pondered. With amazement his head he shook. Indeed, a wonder of wonders it is. A new breed of earthling on earth has emerged. A civilized man has the earth itself brought forth.
Lies.
Farming and shepherding, crafts and tool making he can be taught. So was Enlil to Enki saying, let us of the new breed to Anu word send. Of the new breed, word to Anu on Nibiru was beamed. Let seeds that can be sown, let ewes that become sheep to earth be sent. So did Enki and Enlil to Anu the suggestion make. By civilized man, let Anunnaki and earthlings become satiated. Anu the words heard, by the words he was amazed. That by life essences one kind to another leads is not unheard of. To them words back he sent. That on earth a civilized man from the Adamu so quickly appeared. That is unheard of.
He knew something was fishy.
For sowing and husbanding, great numbers are needed. Perchance the beings to proliferate are unable. While the savants on Nibiru the matter contemplated, in Eridu occurrences of import took place. Adapa in a mating Titi knew. In her womb he poured his semen. There was conception, there was birth giving. 2 twins, 2 brothers Titi gave birth.
Oh shit.
Word of the birth to Anu on Nibiru was beamed. The twosome for conception are compatible. Proliferation by them can occur. Let seeds that are sown, ewes that sheep become, to earth be delivered. Let on earth farming and shepherding begin. Let us all be satiated. So did Enki and Enlil to Anu on Nibiru say. Let Titi and Eridu remain, the newborns to suckle and nurture. Let Adapa, the earthling to Nibiru, be brought. So did Anu his decision declare.
So, you ever wonder why on farms they always go out in the field, work all damn day, get all hot, and come home and bang the woman and hope for a male, hope for a son? It's right here. This is from the beginning time. They had the sons go work the damn fields and raise the animals to feed everybody. It was always about the sons. Always. The sons got to go to work. The sons got to do this. The women would be home working and doing all the things that the women did at the homestead. You know what I'm saying? It was always like this from the beginning. This was like a thing they passed down, and they decreed it to be this way. Like they were like, all right, cool, they can breed. All right, fuck yeah, keep popping those fucking kids out. We got seeds for them to sow in the field, and we got animals to raise over here. So that I think they would split them up, depending on whatever maybe their special class was or whatnot. Maybe the women became the farmers. Maybe back in the day, the women were the farmers and the gatherers that were out in the fields and shit like that, doing the growing.
I think we did a lot of work back in the day.
The dudes were the shepherds. Well, you were slaves. We were all slaves. It didn't matter what color you were. You were a human.
Well, I'm just talking about the craft that the Anunnaki women.
Yeah, if you weren't Anunnaki, you was working till you was dead. Just one tribe. Remember that always. In the beginning, they created a worker class. We're going to hear about it. That motherfucker stayed. They didn't do nothing with it, even though they made this upgrade, right? They made the upgrade. Adam and Eve, Adamu and Titi, right? Adapa and Titi, right? And then they had kids. Cain and Abel. Cain kills Abel. We're about to hear it on the next one. You know, and they have all these damn kids. And then next thing you know, a flood's about to happen. The shit, we hear about that in our Bibles and all these other stories, the flood stories, all over our planet. So we know that whatever the hell this story is coming from, there is truth of actually what happened on our planet. We can go to these exact spots and see the evidence of exactly what they're talking about. Now, here's one story that you're not going to hear in most of your little fictional books. Is nukes were dropped on this planet. They were used in North and South America, destroying. Why is there a big, huge desert in the middle of our planet? Where'd the mountain go? that was what's that place called? Yellowstone. Where's the mountain that was Yellowstone? Where'd that go? That was destroyed. House like a mountain. Think about it. Just think about it, right? House like a mountain, destroyed, turned into a wasteland, right? It's all there. The evidence is all there. You know, finally now they're realizing that the Grand Canyon was all once pyramids, and you go around the whole United States. Babylon's here. The Tower of Babel was here. You know what I'm saying? They crushed the language and split everyone up and made people racist by culture, color, and language. That's what it means when God toppled the Tower of Babel and split everyone by nation and language. No, that created racism is what it did from that day on forward, right? Well, what else you hear in this week's reading is greed, lust, right? Like confusion about who they are, like leadership wise, and why can't I get this and why are they getting that? Shut up and learn your place. Just work. You know what I mean? And they came here and they thought they had ownership of shit. That's what it was. They were from a different planet where they had hierarchy or the pyramid scheme or the ladder of whatever they had to climb to get to the kingship. And if they died before they ever became king, then they weren't never shit. But they found new planets with people, and they were like, "Oh shit, I want to be in control. I want to be in charge. Why aren't they? They're kings over there. Why can't we be kings here? Like if they're in charge of the beer, why can't we be in charge of Earth? Like I don't want to be in charge of Mars no more. I want to come and be in charge of Earth. Well, let's look at the moon. No, fuck the moon. The moon sucks. I want to be in charge of Earth. And soon we're going to hear about Ra and Ra's greed and takeover and who's still maybe in charge of who thinks they're still in charge. That's all of Babylon, all of back in the day when you see the disc, the flying disc, the winged disc with the dude standing in the middle, the half man, half bull, that's Marduk. That's Marduk standing there. All of like Persia, all those places, they were all built for him. That was his era. You know what I'm saying? There was under him, we hear about all the lesser gods, like in Egypt, gods of Egypt, right? We hear all the lesser gods. Those are all the grandkids. And so on and so forth, generation after generation. Go back to your great granddaddy and start counting all the people back to you. And just imagine that was what was here on the fucking planet. It's exactly what they're explaining, exactly what they're talking about. And every year, like people talk about, oh, the Bible wasn't real. There was no white people then. They were all black. Let's look at the artwork and blah, blah, blah. And, there weren't white people then. And God couldn't have been a white man with a robe. Well, guess what? There's cultures all over the planet that depicted him as being a white man in a robe with a beard with blue eyes. You might say, bullshit, that's blasphemy. I will say, no, that's called radiation poisoning, people. That's what it was. They describe it. It's radiation poisoning. It's motherfucking science. I ain't saying it's supernatural. God's not a white dude with the white beard and blue eyes. He's an Anunnaki dude that has radiation poisoning that made him have white skin with blue eyes and a white beard. He's known as the White Wizard. You might know him as Gandalf. They wrote stories about him and shit. It's cool. It's cool, but I'm for real. They wrote about it. They tell what they look like. Like when the parents came from the Nibiru to the fucking earth, they were like, whoa, at their children. They were like, you look old as fuck. You're twice as old as me. And they realized, they're like, oh shit, we need to go back to the high frequency planet and re-up on some of this frequency so we stay the same age. They had to get the bread and the fuel, the water and the bread, or else they could not live forever. Then we're going to transport to the future with mononuclear gold. You know what I'm saying. And when you eat that, you live forever. Anybody got some gold I can eat? But it's the truth, though. It's the truth. Like, people say things aren't the way they are, but they really are. People depicted them. Civilizations depicted what they described as their God, their creator God, their creator deity. Some said there was a man that came out of a dragon. Well, that was a spaceship, of course, and it was a guy that came out of that spaceship. And they depicted these guys, some as these Indian-looking race people, and that's what they're described as looking like. Not black. Not like that, like the South American type, reddish brown type people with these weird kind of noses and these elongated type skulls. That's what they're depicted as looking like. And the longer they stayed here, the longer that radiation from our sun affected them, bleached their skin out, turned their... Look at it. Why do you think we get this? It ain't age. It ain't stress. It's radiation, man. That's radiation. And guess what? They know through the whole teachings of Dumuzi, him as Jesus and shit, from the teachings of all these people, they've taught their secrets to the humans. That was the sin. That was going against the God, right? We weren't supposed to know the whole frequency. We weren't supposed to know root cutting and witchcraft and how to give birth and how to be doctors. We weren't supposed to know those things, right? And then they made civilized man and so forth. And they passed down, like, at first we were civilized and we were supposed to know these one set of things, farming and shepherding and being that kind of civilized by talking and saying, hey man, how you doing? Like, yes, sir. No, sir. I have your sheep. Yes, here's your stuff. Not, oh, get out of my way. That's what the primitive workers, they said. They were grunt. They had not the civilized speech. They had simple words. Yes, no, hungry, food, poop. Simple words. These people were civilized. They could read books. They could learn. They could do things. They weren't just this, So as it goes on, shit just fucking goes haywire, man. Haywire. But from that beginning, remember, Enki promises Marduk a station. He promises when that station comes back to match his, he will be in charge. Pretty soon we're going to hear about all these direct links to America, the Twin Towers. You're going to hear these direct links, how the two towers of Babel. Okay. There was a Tower of Babel. There was one. Then it was prophesied that two would be created. The Tower of Babel that would connect. What was the Tower of Babel? To connect. It was really a space or bond, but it was to connect all the civilizations together. What was the two towers? That was the two trade towers. That's where all the people from all around the world will come together and trade their fucking technologies and secrets and love and shit like that. They destroyed that. That's prophesied, motherfucker. And also prophesied that Jesus would rule this continent, North America, for that time period, this time period. You know what I'm saying? It's all written in this book here. It's not said like that, but you're going to hear it. I'm going to point it all out to you and be like, get the fuck, holy shit. And then you can look at the map. You're going to look at the map and cross-reference this bitch with Egypt, and you're going to be like, damn, it's not Egypt. They rebuilt Egypt here, is what I'm telling you. They rebuilt Egypt here. They mined all of, like, California. There were 7 cities of gold that Cain built. Cain is the original creator. When they came here, Cain's people were here. Cain's people, not black people, Cain's people. The descendants of Cain, no Israelite. The descendants of Cain were here in North and South America. He prophesied 7 kingdoms of gold. They're here. They're here. California all the way down to South America. They were here, right? They all had rulers. They were all his children. All his children. That's just truth. That will set you so free once you realize that shit's the real truth. You're like, holy shit, that's insane. And you can tell they were his kids because they can't grow a beard. There's no beards on those people. So what do we have next week?
Next week, we have the 8th tablet. Would you like a little
Canaanites.
precursor to it?
The Canaanites. And why are they called Canaanites, right? Because of the cannabis. The cannabis, man. Yes.
So next week, tune in to find out Adapa's wide understanding amazes Nibiru's savants. On Anu's orders, Adapa is brought to Nibiru.
First human ever going to a different planet.
An Earthling's first ever space journey.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there I
Enki reveals Adapa's parenting truth to Anu. Enki justifies his deed by the need for more food.
Agreed.
Adapa is sent back to start farming and shepherding. Enlil and Enki create crop seeds and sheep lines. Ninurta teaches Cain, or Kain, the way it is spelt here, crop cultivation.
Cane, the actual like marijuana cane, like fragrant cane, not K-I-N-E, right? It's C-I-A-N-E. Kain. Oh, it is.
I told you.
C-A-hyphen
K-A-I-N. I say it like it's written.
Fragrant cane.
Ninurta teaches Kain crop cultivation. Marduk teaches Abel shepherding and wool making.
Oh, yeah.
Fighting over water, Kain strikes and kills Abel. Kain is tried for murder, sentenced to exile. Adapa and Tidi have other offspring who intermarry. On his deathbed, Adapa blesses his son Sati as his heir, and a descendant, Enkime, is taken by Marduk to Lamu.
Boom.
All next week.
So what city could they have populated, right? The first civilized city reported in history is Sumeria. Okay, so Adam and Eve, Adamu and Titi, Cain and Abel, all them fucking people, Abel, all them fucking people, all their kids, they had kids, they intermarried, they interbred because they were the only civilized people. They weren't breeding with the uncivilized. What was the uncivilized? The primitive workers. They were not breeding with them. They created a civilization called Samaria, the first civilization, right? You might say that's not the first where it all. No, that is the first human civilization recorded in fucking history. Go look it up. And that is where Adam and Eve started. That's where your Bible story starts, where it all centers all around right there in Samaria, except they wiped Samaria from the Bible. They tell you about all these biblical places. They don't give you shit about Adam and Eve. They tell you they're in Eden. They're not in Eden. You know what I'm saying? They were not there. They were in a different place. They were in the house of the people who brought them up. And then they were given a place called Samaria, where they were away from the primitive workers, and they started civilization. That shit's just fabulous. That's diabolical, man.
So yeah, 8th tablet next week. Excited for that.
Yeah, Cain and Abel. Yeah, we're down here, Buzzville. That's right. We've done almost a 2-hour spit. But it was great, and we learned about more humans being created. And before, we always joked about Lord Enki finding the black chicks in the water, you know. But were they black? Were they really of dark-skinned color? You know, they say they describe the females. The females were all genetic copies of each other. Okay, then they interbred with the males, which would make a crossbreed of whatever genetically they were, and color, size, shape, and all that shit. They'd make copies or a mixture. Would all those mixtures be the same? It's quite possible that all those mixtures would be the same. The only difference was that first birth mother, those 7 birth mothers, remember? So their genetic code was in there too. And then that would make those females different and those males different. But there would be the interbreeding and the mixture already starting. The mixture is already starting of a bunch of different colors of babies coming out is what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing one straight line of like black people or white people or Mexican people or nothing like that. I'm already seeing a bunch of mixtures of shit. Okay. Now, here's my theory. One after another, you know, you got, say, a dark-skinned red person and a blonde-haired, say, tan person, olive skin colored, whatever the hell, you know, olive skin is like greenish brown. Where'd the green come from? Quite possibly that was an Anunnaki color, greenish brown. Quite possibly olive drab. So you mix these two together, you start spitting out all different kinds of colors of children. In that genetic code is lighter colors. In that genetic code, dark colors. And that genetic code could be green, brown, red, all different colors, right? So all these colors that people start spitting out, and just like they say, we were one tribe. And that's when we all came together and we were trying to go to space. You're going to see. We just tried to go into space and shit. And then they toppled the Tower of Babel, which split us up by race and genetic codes and languages. They split us up. They probably said, all right, we're going to stick all you brown people here, all you white people here, all you yellow people here, and all you red people there. Remember, they were the masters. We weren't in charge. They were. We did whatever the fuck. They picked us up and went, boom, you're over there today. We didn't have a say. We tried to have a say. They whooped our ass until later times, you know, when Joshua, you know, Yeshua, your Jesus, comes up and has to whoop all their asses. Because, you know, Jericho was a whole city of Anunnaki giants. For real. That was the Agigi. That's where they lived. They had fucking spaceships and motherfucking laser guns. Pew, 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 shooting at all the motherfuckers, and they got swords. Shah! But you know what they also had? They had the frequency weapon. They had the literal... Imagine if you had a power grid, and this whole power grid was powered by this one thing. And you could take that one thing and point it at a whole fucking city and burn that city to the fucking ground. Well, that's what they did. They called it the Holy Grail. But in all actuality, that was a fucking electromagnetic fucking pulse ray fucking lightning. That was a Tesla ray, bro. You know what I'm saying? Why would they go around 7 times, blowing trumpets, blah, 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 blah? They had to get that vibration, right? They had to first get the vibration in the building, right? This is what do they call that? Harmonic toning or whatever. So they had to get the harmonic tone harmonic residency in the building to be the same as the outside. So when they went, it would fucking alight this, all that electronic magnetic fucking energy would go into the arc and spit that bitch out and melt that fucker to the ground. I mean, that's just science, baby. Ain't science cool?
Ain't science cool?
It really happens, man. They do that shit in real life, man. Yeah, the resonant frequency, man. They had to match that resonant frequency. That's why they went around so many times. They blew those trumpets. Why wouldn't they just rush the gates? Why wouldn't they just, you know, if it was God, why did God use people? If it's God, why don't he just go crush shit with the hand of God? Why wouldn't he just wipe it off the playing field? Why did something so powerful supposedly use humans as fucking game pieces for his leisure? We're to find out why, how it happened, when they started using us for terror weapons. You know, armies were built. They were bred super fucking heroes were on the earth in those days. They called them giants, men of old and renown. We're going to get to those fucking badass motherfuckers, man. They was chopping dicks off. Stay tuned for chapter 8.
Yes, indeed.
The Anunnaki tales. It all came down to circumcision. This is literally this whole shit, this sick fucking tale of our history is about circumcision. And they're still fighting this war today about the circumcised and uncircumcised. I didn't have a choice in none of it. That's what I'm telling you.
Why do you think they did it at birth, to make sure that nobody did have the choice for it?
So to fight over...
Let's think about that
to fight over shit I never had a choice over. I don't care for that fight. I never had a choice in nothing. I never had a choice to be born this color. I never had a choice to be born bald and fucking with a penis or without a penis, for that matter. Whether it's
Glad you got one.
chopped or not chopped is not even a situation for me. I don't know. It looks kind of cool. It looks like it's got the fucking top down. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying it just doesn't look like it's in a cap or nothing. But what I'm trying to get to is like, I didn't have a choice. None of that. That was chosen for me. So to argue with somebody about you're right or you're wrong about that shit doesn't even pertain to me. And that fight shouldn't even happen. But what I do know is these dudes did fight about whether their penis was fucking circumcised or not circumcised. They had whole wars. Pew, pew, pew. They had whole wars. And the goal was to chop off the goddamn penis. It was to chop the penises off because it was such a disgrace. They were like, oh, how dare you? That was like you're in two gangs, one's red, one's blue, and all the other red dudes wear blue to the fight. Oh, you did what? To who? Where? When? Oh, you gonna get it. Oh, you false flagging motherfuckers. So they went to work, and before there was demons in the Bible, and we all got this view of what a demon was and how it would possess you, there were things called dark ones. Dark ones were always here, they said. Those were always here. They're earth spirits.
They were always here.
Earth spirits, water, air, wind, fire, wood,
elementals.
Rocks, elementals. They were invisible.
Forest spirits, fairies, the gnomes, all these things that are lost in time and fairy tales.
Yep.
These are all the things that were here before they came here.
And
these
and
energies.
Some were good. Some are bad. Mm-hmm. Some are mischievous. Some wanted revenge for what was going on planet Earth. Well, they used these things in a battle. The ones that wanted that revenge, ooh, they got that revenge so crazily. Oh, God, it's so bloody. And I'm telling you, man, I might have my friend make this cartoon, because if I make him make anything, that's going to cost me a lot of money. But if I make him make anything, it will be this fucking cartoon. And it will be the craziest shit, I guarantee, you've ever seen in your entire existence. And it's going to blow your mind. It's probably going to change your reality, and you're probably going to feel like you're going to want to take a shower afterwards. Like, oh no, why? You're going to feel like one of those moments happening. So join us next time. Tablet 8. Mm-hmm. And do we end it there?
We don't have a specific ending.
Do we end there already?
Well, no, not yet.
Oh, okay.
We will. We'll do it all.
What do you mean it's specific ending?
No, like for the show.
Oh, that's
what you're asking.
Oh, there is no ending. It's going to keep going on. We're just right now we're on the Lost Book of Lord Enki, right? Next, we're going to probably take it into the giants, and all these are giants. Remember that. Don't forget about Tartaria, people. There was no 6-foot people on this planet at that time. That's a myth. There was giants, huge motherfuckers, Anunnakis, 25 foot tall. Then there was Adam and Eve. Right, they were like 15 foot tall, 15 foot tall. It's written like this. You'll see them depicted like this. Well, then we go back and we learn about the men of old and renown and how big they were. Well, okay. Well, now that just makes the dude up here way fucking bigger. When they say Lord Enki knelt down, he knelt down. He wasn't talking to a child. Oh, it's not going to show.
No, it ain't going to show you, baby love.
He knelt. He had to kneel down to be the same size as the person standing up, right? So when he stood up, he was way taller. He couldn't kiss nobody. He had to kneel down. He wasn't talking to a child. He was talking to a freaking earthling, person. That's pretty interesting, though, isn't it?
Very interesting.
So that depicts to you and to me that these beings were taller than the creation.
Absolutely. Bye, everybody.
Look at her.
What? Look at him. Peace out, everybody. Until next Sunday and the next Ganja Gospel, we will see y'all.
That's
same, how does that go? Same bat time, same bat channel.
That's right.
Peace out, everybody.
Peace out.